Except that we've had examples of people falling into rent arrears and being able to make payments because the universal credit rollout hasn't worked the way it should. And then you call up to try and get things right, and you're charging people at the lower end of the income scale 55 pence a minute.
But people report regularly to the job centre. That's where they can get the help.
If you call on a mobile phone, you're charging 55 pence a minute.
Well, I would encourage people to visit the job centre, go in and get the advice.
Right, but these are people who've got kids to look after, they can't afford sort of nannies or help to look after them. Phoning may be the only way. They've got people visiting, to plumbers, whatever. It's just the normal things of life. So getting on the phone is quite important. Now, if it's a landline, it's cheaper. I understand that. But many people now don't have landlines because you save, again, if you're counting the pennies, you save on the rental from a landline and you get as cheap as possible mobile deal. And you're charging them 55 pence a minute. Why are you doing it?
Because this is what I'm saying. We're moving to a new model of the way we support people. It's much more interventionist. It's much more about helping people get into work.
Right, by
That's
charging them, why are
centre...
you charging them 55 pence a minute to call up and try and get their universal credit payments fixed?
Well, I don't know the details of the call line, and as you've said, it's more affordable if you ring up the landline.
But lots of people don't have landlines these days.
The fundamental model is that people go into their local job centre, they get that advice and support, and they can receive those additional payments if that's what needed. And that's what people want. They want face-to-face advice.
I'm not arguing about the principle. That will be another debate. But you do sometimes wonder if the government knows what it's doing.
Well,
it's charging
recently?
students who are paying back loans over 6%. Nobody else is paying 6% interest these days when the basic rate is 0.25. And now you're charging people on welfare 55 pence a minute.
I mean, changes have already been made by the Welfare Secretary. So at conference, he announced this additional approach of people being able to go in and get same-day support. This is a system that's being gradually rolled out. But the majority of the feedback I get from my constituents about universal credit is incredibly positive. And I don't think we should allow the fact that, that there have been issues, which the Welfare Secretary has acknowledged, to overshadow what is a hugely positive programme. There is very positive feedback about it.
You're the Chief Secretary of the Treasury. You're in charge of the money. You count the money. Will you speak to the Work and Pensions Department about these phone charges?
I speak to the Work and Pensions Department all the time
about their
budget.
That's not what I asked you. Will you speak to them about this? I mean, it's at the top end. But you know, sometimes calling things, you get put on. I had experience this morning of calling something. You get put on hold. So very quickly, you are racking up the money. Would you like to speak to them about doing something?
Well, I'm sure David Gauke is looking, as we roll out universal credit, about how to give people the best possible service. But the reason we're doing that is that we want to help people get into work. That is working. It's been the huge success of our welfare policy over the last 7 years. And that adjustment of people getting on to being paid monthly is really important.
All right.
So we don't just have one group of people who've been left behind.
Laura.